miracle transpired.
This is Nishio-san. She's gonna help us out around here.
Hey, pals and gals, let's talk movies. And today, we're diving into one of the most charming and beautifully unique animated films I've seen in a long time, Little Amélie, or The Character of Rain. This is a French-Belgian production that tells the story of a little girl named Amélie, born in Japan to Belgian parents. Through her eyes, and with the help of her wonderful friend and caretaker, Nishio-san, the entire world is a place of endless adventure and magical discovery. But on her third birthday, an event occurs that changes the course of her life forever, challenging her idyllic view of the world. Right from the start, this movie establishes a tone and a visual style that is completely its own. The animation is digitally rendered, but it has this beautiful, painterly quality to it, like a living watercolor painting. It feels like a cross between the impressionist works of Monet and the boundless imagination of a Studio Ghibli film. The directors Mailys Vallade and Liane-Cho frame the entire world through the perspective of this tiny, precocious child, and that choice is what makes the film so special. We are not just watching a story about a little girl. We are seeing the world exactly as she experiences it, in all its wonder, confusion, and magical logic. The film is based on an autobiographical novel by Amélie Nothomb, and it smartly uses a voiceover from an older Amélie looking back on her early childhood. Our protagonist, voiced by Loïse Charpentier, sees herself not as a mere baby, but as a god. The film introduces us to this Japanese folkloric idea that children are divine beings until they turn 3, and Amélie fully embraces this identity. She's slow to walk and talk not because she can't, but because, in her mind, she chooses not to. She observes her family with a divine, sometimes frustrated, curiosity. This perspective allows the film to dive headfirst into magical realism, and it's handled with such a delicate, confident touch. When Amélie is frustrated, her anger manifests as a literal earthquake. When she decides she's tired of winter, she simply runs her hands through a field and commands the flowers to bloom, bringing spring to life instantly. When she tastes Belgian white chocolate for the first time, sent by her grandmother, she levitates in a golden glow of pure bliss. These moments aren't presented as simple fantasy sequences. They're the absolute reality of her experience. The film never winks at the audience or suggests that this is all in her head in a dismissive way. It fully commits to the idea that a child's emotional world is this powerful, this tangible, and that is a breathtaking concept to witness. The heart of the story, though, is the relationship between Amélie and her caretaker, Nishio-san. Sent by their landlady to help the overwhelmed parents, Nishio-san, voiced wonderfully by Victoria Grobois, becomes Amélie's guide to the world. It's Nishio who coaxes out her first word, and through her, Amélie's universe expands exponentially. Their bond is incredibly tender and sweet, and it forms the emotional core that grounds all the magical elements. You feel every bit of their connection, this pure cross-cultural friendship between a Belgian child and her Japanese guardian. This relationship also allows the film to explore some deeper, more complex themes. The story is set in post-war Japan, and the shadow of that conflict lingers subtly in the background, particularly through the character of the landlady, Kashima-san, who is wary of the foreign family and insists Nishio-san maintain a professional distance. The film touches on the generational trauma of war and the power of connection to heal old wounds. In one of the movie's most moving sequences, Amélie gifts Nishio a seemingly empty jar, which, when opened, releases a luminous swarm of Nishio's own childhood memories. It's a stunning visual metaphor for how joy and shared experience can fill the gaps left by past sorrow. If I had one small critique, it's that the film occasionally leans a little hard into its sentimentality. There are moments where the emotional tone can feel a bit unshaded, a little too direct. The character of Kashima-san, for instance, represents a necessary counterpoint. but she isn't given quite as much depth as I would have liked, sometimes coming across as merely crotchety rather than fully fleshed out as a complex product of her trauma. But this is a minor quibble in what is otherwise a beautifully balanced narrative. The film's subtitle, The Character of Rain, is itself a beautiful piece of storytelling. Amélie discovers that her name sounds curiously close to the Japanese word for rain, ame. This revelation causes her to profoundly identify with the weather, seeing rain as something dangerous, tempestuous, and invisible, just like she sometimes feels. It's a subtle but powerful moment of a child grappling with her own identity, straddling two cultures and trying to find where she belongs. Little Amélie, or The Character of Rain, is a delicate, profound, and wonderfully imaginative film. It's a celebration of childhood, a testament to the power of cross-cultural bonds, and a visual feast that will stick with you long after the credits roll. It masterfully captures that fleeting, magical period of life where the line between reality and imagination is beautifully blurred, and where a child's will feels like the most powerful force in the universe. It's a truly special piece of animation. I'm giving Little Amélie, or The Character of Rain, an 8 out of 10. All right, that's my take. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you felt about this one. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay up to date with all my movie reviews and movie analysis. I always appreciate your time, and I hope to see you in my next video.